Okay, I want to talk about the number one thing that I think that we can impart to our children, which is basically the idea that we are not beasts. We are not subjected to our instincts and our drives and our passions, and we don't have to say yes to them. And that's so important. I was a campus minister in Kansas City where there were a lot of kids that were coming from kind of inner city Kansas City. And I had a friend who was one of those kids, and she was wanting to go and get a Depo shot, which is a birth control shot, freely sponsored by the government at the hospital. She needed a ride, so I gave her a ride. And I was there and I was sitting there and I was just asking them, like, hey, how's this, how's this shot? Is this a good shot? And the lady said, yeah, it's actually a really good shot. Like, some people can't even have kids because of this shot. And I was like, my husband and I were trying to have kids at the time. And I was just like, what? And so I got out of there and I asked her, I was like, how do you feel about that? Did you hear what that lady said? And she said, oh, yeah, but Naomi, like, I can't have kids right now. And I was like, okay, can I tell you something? Like, there's another way for you to not have kids. It's called don't have sex. Like, don't have sex. And she was like, Naomi, I can't do that. And I thought in that moment, I thought, who the hell, excuse me, who told you that? Who told you that? Who? It's not God. God didn't tell you that. And so, I just told her, like, I was like, hey, listen, like, you can do that. Like, it's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. And you can deny your desire for a season in order to build well. And it was just one of those moments where I was like, what is happening? What voices are happening in this woman's head that are telling her that she can't choose in those moments of desire? But it's everywhere in our culture. It's everywhere. I mean, I was looking at the news and seeing just this pattern of people acting out on their desires, whether it's just anger, a lot of anger in our culture. I mean, it's just like acting out on our desires. God has made us so that we can say no to what we want to do in our desires. Like, our desires do not have to lead and guide and direct our lives. This is such a crucial idea. And, we are not beasts. A lot of this is coming from a place of, like, us deciding that we need to deal with our emotions, which I totally agree with. But the idea would be to come to a place of trusting God, of that we curb our desires because we trust God. Because we trust God to protect us, because we trust God to provide for us, because we trust God with our most basic needs. And so I was thinking about this in a more subtle way. It was a moment for me that God showed me why I have a spirit of self-control as opposed to a spirit of fear. And we were at the pool. This was last year, actually. And there had been a shooting that was supposedly related to some people with ISIS. And so, there was just like the fear in the air, like, man, people are like, especially, Muslims, like, be afraid, be very afraid, like, there was that kind of deal. And there was a woman at the pool who was like totally covered, I mean, from head to toe. She had a swimsuit on that was totally covering her. And I was feeling afraid. I had my kid with me. I think I was pregnant at the time. Obviously Muslim. And I was like wanting to get Judah away from her. I was instinctually feeling this fear and responding with this fear. And then I had just this thought, like, how's the world ever going to change? Like, if I'm just feeling fear all the time. Like, I mean, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. I have self-control. I can do something different. I can make a different choice. And so I decided I was going to choose, I was going to curb my instinct, and I was going to move in the opposite spirit. And so I went up to her and I introduced myself to her, and it turns out she's from Syria. She was running away from, all of this crazy mayhem in her culture. She's pregnant herself. We had a lot in common, and we ended up talking for a good, 20, 30 minutes, and it was fabulous. It was so neat to meet her. And she was a human to me, and I was a human to her, and it was so good. This is so key for us as parents. And it's also so, 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 so key for us to teach our children. You don't have to respond to your instincts. You can make a different choice. You can choose to love because you can trust and you can abide and you can rest that He's got you. So, hope that helps someone.